Hey there, my name is Mari. I go by Bitter Sweet Betty across social media, on Instagram and Ravelry, different variations of it. I'll put it somewhere on the screen if I remember. This is my first awkward attempt at vlogging. I've been thinking about doing this for maybe a year now, and it's not really a New Year's resolution or anything. It's just more of a just finally decided I wanted to do it, and I thought a really good place to start would be with wrapping up my 2018 Make 9, talking a little bit about what I've got left over going into the new year, and then giving you some thoughts on what I want to do for 2019. So I'm really excited to have a vlog. I feel like there's probably 1,000 that I'm not even aware of, so no idea if this will make it to anyone more than my husband and my parents and maybe a few random friends. But I don't really care. I just wanted to do it because I have things that I want to share with people. I want to be a part of the fiber community more. I'm a lurker, so like I'm an introvert and I do not generally comment a lot on things, but I'm usually there watching you. Creepy, I know, sounds creepy. But the hard part is, as an introvert and someone who doesn't necessarily enjoy commenting on things, I have not had a good way to get into like the knitting community. So I'm hoping to use this as a way to put my voice out there, and hope that some of you that are more talkative and better at commenting and things like that come and say hello. Basically, this is both my socializing and my being brave exercise, and an opportunity to get better at just being myself, talking about things I love, and hopefully getting to meet some of you guys and getting to know folks in the fiber community better. So please help me as I get over myself, and feel free to comment, feel free to say hello, feel free to check in with me on Instagram. Let's get into the knitting. I think I've been talking for about 10 minutes now, and hopefully not 10 minutes by the time I edit out the weird crap at the beginning that I said. But I just wanted to take you guys through my 2018 Make 9. I did that as part of the Instagram challenge last year. I wasn't worried. I wasn't like religious about it or anything. I wasn't worried about, you know, doing exactly that or being committed to it. I like the idea of having a way to think forward about, you know, what do I want to make. And when I did my 2018 Make 9, I'm holding a tablet that has my picture on it just so I can reference sort of the patterns. I'm gonna put a picture up here somewhere that shows all the patterns. So going top left across, I'll just kind of talk about them, whether or not I did them, if they were completed, things like that. So in the upper left hand corner, the first pattern, the yellow cowl, that's the Aurelia cowl by Hillary Smith. Sorry, I know there's another name in there. I did knit that one. That was one of the first things that I knit in 2018. I'm gonna start saying all sorts of years, you guys. So this is the first one that I knit. And I knit another one of hers in 2017 that I really loved, called the Star Shower. I definitely recommend it. It's a really great project for like single skeins of fingering weight yarn. So this one is a little bit more like cozy and just kind of fluffy. And if you can see it, it's kind of like it's got sort of this feather and fan motif on it. And then the yarn is, okay, what's the yarn? It is by this dyer, so AJHC Wools, who I came across at the little yarn store in my parents' hometown up in Michigan. She actually dyes in the next town over, and they had her yarn, and her yarn's beautiful. So like I've got a bunch more of it that I buy whenever I go up there. But so this is her DK base. It's been a while now and I don't have the ball band. Excuse me, I have fuzz on my mouth. So DK base, 2 skeins. I used to like one and maybe half of another. It's very cozy. I like the colors a lot. I'm very much a jewel tones person, or apparently bright orange. So I have like a burgundy leather jacket that is my main winter jacket. So this goes really well with it. Actually, I haven't worn it very much because it's been pretty mild this year so far. But this is really nice. I like it. I'm too big to wear little shawlettes. So anything that would be like this size with some tails would be like up here, and that would be really annoying to me. So I really love these new cowls that are kind of this. They're designed so they don't have a lot of bulk in the back. So that's the back. That's how wide it is compared to, say, the front. So I just like that it doesn't put a lot of bulk behind the back of your neck, but you've got this whole big bib in the front. So that's one of my first projects that I worked on in 2018. So that one was done, I think, by the time I even put up the Make 9. The second pattern was the rose. So this is probably the first pair of real Rose City rollers that I did. So these were knit out of Blue Moon Fiber Arts. I don't know the color name, you guys. I can't remember. But I did this with a Fish Lips Kiss heel. And this was probably one of my first times, which I like the Fish Lips Kiss heel. I like doing it. Again, not super sure that these short row type heels work the best on me, but it could also be that, one, I need a deeper gusset, or two, I'm just not putting enough length on the socks. I did do sort of like a rib section here because I'm used to the way commercial socks fit, and I want it to be tighter. So like when the wool socks that I wear get baggy and then kind of shift around in my shoe, I don't like that. So this was an effort to try and work on that. I don't know that it succeeded or not. I did wear these to Disney World in the spring, or in September. And they hold up pretty well. They're definitely, I do recommend like Blue Moon socks that rock. It's heavy, like it feels nice, but it feels sturdy. And so I feel like, and I've got a bunch of skeins from them. So I'm hoping if I can work out what the ideal thing is, then I can like knock out some quality socks, but I'm kind of struggling in the meantime. So that was the first pair of Rose City rollers that I did. I worked on another pair. I've got 3 little pairs. Hold on, pulling. Okay, so I think this was the next pair. So, okay, too many things in my hands. Okay, so this was the second pair of Rose City rollers. So it's got this sort of rolled. Rose City rollers, by the way, is by Mara Catherine Briner. Rose City rollers on Ravelry. So it's just kind of got this like rolled ankle, which I like. I found that like having ribbed ankle socks didn't work super well for me. I think the thing that's nice about this is like if you knit them at a tighter gauge and you want a tighter sock, like this, it kind of becomes almost no-show socks, which I liked. I did do a heel flap and gusset on this one, so I think they fit a little bit better, but they do tend to get baggy this way after they've been worn. This pair's been worn a little bit. So, and I'm not really sure either. Like, I know people don't wash their knit socks every single time they wear them, but it feels weird. Because it's not like they get cleaner, they just maybe don't smell, I guess, right? So these ones have been worn, and I kind of stretched out, and I'm not really sure what to do, whether I should just wash them every single time. If you guys have any thoughts, please let me know what you do with your socks. I'm kind of new to this. And then I knit these ones, this was a really beautiful skein of Olin IE, who I think is an Irish dyer. Colorway I want to say is like Nebula, something like that, in fingering weight. Hope you guys don't care about like fiber content and stuff, because I don't have the ball bands, so no idea. So with contrasting teal or toe and heel, this is a mini from Evil Little Goat Yarns, I believe, and then this pink one, no idea. Maybe someone sent it to me last year for Get Your Yarn, which is granted. So these ones are also okay. I did the Fish Lips Kiss for this one. Again, same thing, like it, like knitting it better than the heel flap and gusset, but I'm not sure it wears super well. These are a little bit lighter weight. These ones again are from that dyer, the German dyer, that's a little bit more woolly, and it feels like it will hold up really well. I also think I knit these on I I think I knit these on a 1.5. So that will be the ongoing saga of figuring out how to knit some socks that fit my freaking feet, and we'll see how that goes. You guys will be along for that adventure, I guess. Okay, the next pattern in my Make 9 was the Lillypilly, which is by Amba O'Brien. We'll grab that. Okay, so Lillypilly. The backstory to this one is that last September, my husband and I took our first trip to Maine, which we really, really loved. And when we were there, we went to Acadia National Park and visited also Swan Island, that does yarn there. And so he bought me a skein for my birthday of the Swan Island. Let's see if I've got it. Maybe I have a ball band. Maybe. Okay, so Swan Island Sterling collection. This is in the carnelian colorway. So this is like the orange part. And then when we got back, I bought a skein of Acadia yarn from Knitted Wits National Park collection. Knitted Wits awesome, by the way. I love Laura Jean. She and her friend Shannon have just started the Shannon Jean show, so check them out on YouTube. I haven't watched it yet, but so she has a National Parks collection. This is all I have left of this one ball. But this was just a really beautiful skein. It's got just a lot of different colors, and since we went, it wasn't, the leaves weren't turning yet, but it was like we spent a lot of time on the water, and then like the leaves and the sunlight were just beautiful. And so I feel like she really did capture in this sort of that, what it looks like, at least for me, for that time of year. And so the Lillypilly pattern I'll put up here is a pattern that's got sort of striping, and then it has single color lace. So I'm still stuck on this part. I like this pattern, but for some reason, and I like garter stitch, but for some reason, striping garter stitch, I don't know. It's not been my cup of tea this year. For this. Tons of other garter stitches happened. So this is what I've got so far. This is basically the first section, and it's one of those like parallelogram shawls. And so it's got the, if you can tell, it's striping that carnelian color with the Acadia color. And I really like it. Like, I'm excited to have it one day. I just don't know when that day is going to be. So that's kind of a bummer. So, and then when I get to the lace part, which I think I'm close, but then it's really long, and then there's an even longer striping section. So I don't know, this might be finished in like 3 years. But when I get to the lace section, I'm going to do it in this, which I want to say is like an ultra alpaca lace. I know it's alpaca. This is a really old deep stash ball. I bought this for something a long time ago that was like also a water wave shawl, and just never like really got around to, can you see it? There we go. So it's got like some heathering, it's got that fibery look. So I wanted to use this for, it's supposed to be fingering, but it's a very, very light fingering, which is why I've never used it. But I like the idea of using this for lace. To me, it represents the water that we spent a lot of time around. I love water. I'm not real big on like sandy beach type stuff, but I grew up in Michigan, so grew up going to a lake, grew up going to the Great Lakes, Lake Michigan. And Maine is a lot like that, like very rocky beaches, a lot of just sort of like rugged water. So that was a really big component of our trip, and so I figured that this was just a really great way to represent that trip and to have sort of a keepsake, especially because at the time I was kind of not really knitting, wasn't super into it, and now I am, and it's nice to have a way to kind of use some of the things that I wasn't really ready for at that time. So that's in progress. I don't know what to tell you. That might come out of hiding at some point. It's kind of on like whip timeout island for right now. It's probably going to be there for a while. Every now and then I pull it out, so we'll see. Okay, so the next on the next, okay, put it back up here. So the middle row left was On the Spice Market, which is a shawl pattern by Melanie Berg, I think. On the Spice Market, I can tell you that much. I love Melanie Berg's patterns. I think they're beautiful. Apparently I'm on a kick because I seem to be knitting a lot of them or have them in my queue for things. This is probably the first one I actually knit. I think I've started a couple others and ripped them out. But I love this shawl. This is the one I reach for all the time now. So, and the other thing is I really like the way it's knit in the sample photos. And I think Tracy from Grocery Girls knit one very similar to that, and I just really liked it. So I didn't really mess with perfection very much. So this was my On the Spice Market shawl. I knit this with, oh goodness, I'm gonna forget now. What in the world? Okay, so the gray part, sorry, it's hard to see. This is a big shawl, you guys. Like, this is a humongous shawl. I love the coloring that it kind of like is subtle here, and then it goes down, and then you just kind of get it again and again. So when I put it on, and the tails on these are super long and they're nice and drapey. So this is like, if you're a big person, if you're a big girl like me, this feels like, you know, you're not only are you covered, but like you've got, you know, it doesn't feel like the pattern shrunk for you. Because like some of those, like the Aurelia cowl on the designer is enormous. Like, it's huge. And I mean, it's like here. It's like a normal size cowl, which is fine. It's just, she must either be like this big or I'm like this big. So, it is what it is. Anyways, regardless, On the Spice Market, I love this shawl. Guys, what colorway is it? This was a pack. This was a 6-pack that okay. This, okay, so the gray is Miss Babs Yummy 2-ply in, of course I can't remember, one of the grays. I think it might be one that she's not making all the time anymore, because I couldn't find it when I went to SAF. So it's a gray. It's a nice warmish gray, but very neutral and is the right color for me. And then this, so this color palette is a 6-pack by Fiber Optic Yarns. I bought it at Maryland Sheep and Wool this year, and so it's like each of these, the 6 were like 120 or 140 yards, something like that. So it's a gradient pack. I want to say it's like her cashmere base, so it's really soft. Like, it's very cozy. I like the gauge that it knit up at. Like Miss Babs, that's it's not like the softest. I mean, it's fine, but like this feels like cashmere. So I just really love the way it feels. I love that it's huge. I love that the color palette for this fall just really goes with kind of anything and everything. Again, jewel tones. So, and I like this a lot. Like, I just think that's a really interesting way to add color and do a gradient without having to like fade it necessarily. Like, I'm not a huge fan of fading. But it's because I really want it to look like a gradient more than a fade. So this works for me a lot because I think the colors were so well done. And I really, really, really love, let's see. Okay. There's a tail somewhere that has a color that I want to show you. Okay. So this red color, none of the colors were named, you guys. So that's a bummer because I don't know. Like, I don't know what color this is, but I really like this red. And if the dyer watches this ever, I've messaged her and haven't gotten a response, and you know what this red is, please tell me, because I would like to buy a sweater quantity of it. Honestly, kind of all of these I would buy a sweater quantity of in probably a heartbeat. So that's my On the Spice Market. Highly recommend. Enjoyed knitting. These do get a little like, you hit a point where you're like, oh my god, this is going on forever. I'm never going to be done with it. And then you just have to put it in timeout island for a little bit and then do something else and then come back and then you're like really excited again. That's what I was, at least. So I've got another one to show you in a little bit that I'm so close to being done with, and I think will also be a real big favorite. So on the Spice Market, finished. So far I have 3 finished objects and a whip out of my Make 9. The next one is the Vinter Slø sweater. Okay, I'm going to put the picture of the Make 9. It's the one in the very center. So I made the Vinter Slø sweater out of, again, Deep Stash. Hooray! Of course, it didn't mean that I didn't have to go buy more because it needed a third color. So I knit Vinter Slø out of Cascade Eco Wool that I've had for years, that I've always intended to be a sweater. Tried knitting a couple other things that I just didn't really like in it. So mine is, guys, I have no idea what the colors are. Okay, I'm back. So I just went and grabbed all my sweaters that I knit this year. Not that it's a huge pile, but it's enough. Okay, so I'm not gonna put this on because it's already warm in my office and this thing's a beast. So I really like this. This feels like a big fluffy Nordic sweater to me. Here is the body that's knit in sort of this natural brown color, and then the yoke is knit in sort of a natural creamy color, and then all the color work is done in this beautiful green. Oh, I have a humongous stain on that. Whoops. Anyways, I'm gonna assume you guys can't really see that super well. I did knit the rolled neck slightly longer, just on recommendation from someone in the project pages that basically said, you know, if you want it to roll and not have like a tight, it might be better to have that. So I did that. So this one, like I knit, the way you knit it is you do a provisional cast on down here somewhere, and then you knit the yoke up to the neckline. And that's cool because what that means is once you get all your color work done and your neckline done, you basically have a finished object. So what was helpful for me was that I went and blocked it. So I wanted to see if it fit. This was sort of a yarn substitution that, again, tight knitter, this is probably actually intended to be a bulky weight yarn. I probably knit it at a worsted gauge, I want to say. I knit it on size 7 needles, and it's funny because I'm starting another worsted weight sweater that's being knit on size 8s and probably should really be knit on size 9s, and that would be a much more natural needle size for this yarn because it's pretty thick, but it is wool and spun. So it's a very dense sweater for me, which I'm fine with and I like. It is also a little on the scratchy side, but it's also tight on me a little bit. Like it's weird. The color work at the top is big. Like when I put this on, it's like almost a little baggy in here. And then it's like my gauge at the regular, like, you know, sometimes they tell you to go up a needle size for color work. I don't remember if I did or not for the yoke, but it's bigger. And then when I got back down and did the regular needle size, it's like that was tighter. And then, so I finished it and really liked it, but it was short. And like, again, big girl, like I don't want my belly hanging out, and it was fine. And I usually wear like long tank tops under everything, but like it would pull up like to the edge of my jeans, and I just was like, not really my cup of tea. And everyone was like, it's fine, it looks great. But I felt weird, and so I had to go back a little while ago and rip out the bottom and add about 3 inches to it. So I did that. It's done. I like it a lot better now. I did knit the bottom ribbing in a 7 as well instead of going down a needle size. I kind of wish I'd done that. I'm not saying that there's a chance that I might go back and redo that too. It's just a little floppy and it turns up some. So Vinter Slø, finished object, knocked it out. Super excited to have one of hers. I love, so it's the Vinter Slø VintersSol sweater, and it's by Jennifer Steingass. She's like the queen of yoke sweaters, and I've got several on my radar to work on in this year. So there's that one. The next one on my Make 9 was the Raindrop sweater by Tin Can Knits. This is, so I started the Vinter Slø first, did the yoke, and then put it down for like 6 months. And in the meantime, I started this one. So this is my Raindrops, and I'm gonna put a picture of me wearing it up. I think there's a picture, obviously it looks better wearing it than holding it, but it's a lot easier for me to tell you about it when it's sitting right here. Common sense. So this is another top-down sweater that is knit, where the increases are included as you knit the yoke. And this has sort of a scattered eyelet that's meant to be the raindrops that goes down. And I really love it. And Tin Can Knits, I mean, if you're a knitter, you probably have knit. If you haven't knit it, then you probably know of them. So their patterns are great. I knit this one and finished it in like March, April, something like that. So I basically knit it just in time to not be able to wear it because, again, North Carolina, it's like 80 degrees by April. That's not pleasant. I'm a sweaty person. I can't wear that. But I love this sweater. So it has 3/4 length sleeves. I kind of wish the sleeves were a little bit longer. The body ended up being pretty long. My yardage, like I ended up having like 1.5 balls left over from what was the prescribed yardage, and I think it's just stretched a lot. Like I think does this have anyone else? Your gauge swatches freaking lie. Like, I swatch, people. I swatch. And you know how they're like, don't stretch it. Don't stretch it. Just let it be whatever it's going to be. And I'm like, cool, I get that. But here's the thing. I don't knit many things with positive ease. So, and then, big girl. Like, my stuff, I'm a 54-inch bust size. So my sweater, I don't know how much this weighs, but it's like, my sweaters usually are 5 to 6 skeins of fingering weight. So that's like 600 grams. I don't know what that is in pounds, but it's heavy apparently. So they tend to stretch out themselves, and then they stretch this way because of this. And, you know, someone needs to figure out and tell me how to do a gauge swatch, accounting for all of that, so that I can do it and feel like I'm not going to end up with a gauge swatch that lied and me be very angry at an inanimate gauge swatch. So I love this sweater. I don't know if I'd knit another one. I like the design a lot. It's very comfy. Like I'm kind of in a, like I like Tin Can Knits a lot, but I feel like in some ways they're a little basic. Like I think I had to add some more shaping to it. And I think I'm getting to the point as a knitter where like I'm trying to think through like how to do more flattering modifications. So not their pattern's fault at all. Just me needing to figure out, like I've got a Flax Light that I'll show you that I'm kind of like, like it's not doing a lot for me. So we'll see. That one could happen again, but probably not anytime soon. But finished object number 5. And that is where the 2018 Make 9 basically just like goes off the rails. So whatever. The last 3 in the 2018 Make 9 I wasn't super attached to. Like I wanted to knit them. I still do. Maybe not all of them. So one was the Rhineless shawl by Melanie Berg, which I'm still planning to knit. I just didn't like get to it or have the right yarn. Sorry guys. The next pattern is the Breakwater, I believe, by Cecily McDonald. And part of the reason I picked, so that's the Breakwater in the middle on the bottom row, and then on the far right corner is the So Faded by Andrea Mowry. So Faded, obviously very like trendy to do, and like I like the idea of it. I'm not sure that I'd wear a faded sweater a lot. It depends what the fade is. I think I'd have to do like a light, like I'd have to start light up here and then go dark down, similar to the Vinter Slø, like where it's light up top. And I wasn't doing that. Like I think okay, we'll get there. So the Rhineless didn't happen, but I knit a bunch of other stuff, other shawls. So I'm just going to show you some of the shawls that I knit instead. So the first shawl that I worked on this year, is this the right side? This is the right side? Yes. Okay. Okay. This is the, guys, I'm not very good at showing this stuff. So this is the Pure Joy shawl by Joji Locatelli. It is knit with the Walking Dead singles duo by Lolo Did It. So Lolo Did It has she does some colorways that are inspired by Walking Dead, and I like a lot of them, but this one was like, so it's got this sort of like teal that I think is intended to be like their skin, like in the comic books the decay is kind of this, like if it's not black and white it's kind of this like, you know, bluish tint, and then this red color is called Blood. So I want to say this colorway, this blue colorway, was something like, no, I think it was called like Walkers or something, and then this one was Blood, I think. But I just really like the color combination. This is not really my color palette, to be perfectly honest. Like I like the red a lot, but I don't really wear anything that this goes with super well. But then again, it's also kind of one of those things like, who cares? I can wear a black shirt and wear this with it. So I knit this one first, and then like here's the tail. So it starts here. I like this a lot, like, but the problem that I have with some of these, what do you call this? What do you call this? Like these curving, sort of elongated, non-triangular, it's not circular, anyways, whatever it is. The problem I have with those shawls is that the last rows are absurdly long, and this is coming from someone who, when I knit sweaters, I'm dealing with like 400 plus stitches, so it's all mental. But by the end of this, it's not deep. I mean, look at it, it's not that deep. But by the end I was just like, oh god, this has got to be over soon. So I finished that, and that was just the first one I did, because it was one of those things where it was like I had the yarn and it was like calling to me. It was like, I have to be a thing, which is again not my color palette. So weird that was a priority. And I actually ended up giving this to my mother-in-law when she was in the hospital, and she has just recently passed away, about a week and a half before Christmas. So my husband actually just brought this home for me again yesterday. So I'm really happy to have it back. Like, it's meaningful to me because I know it was something that was comforting to her, and it was a rough year for her. So like it's nice to know that this was comforting to my mother-in-law. The second shawl I knit, guys, I don't remember the name of this one, so I'll put the pattern name and designer up if I remember. Sorry. Okay, so this is a semicircular shawl again. See what I mean? Like, I like this, but these weird tails, like, I feel like they're meant to do this, maybe, or probably under here, right? That makes more sense. I like my things to be neat. This is a 3-color shawl that was knit with a skein of Outlander by Woolen Vine Yarns on her, whatever her singles base is. It's a single Outlander. So that is this orangey color right here. And then this top color here is Barnyard Knits, Stormy Seas, I think. I'm pretty sure that's at Stormy Seas. If not, sorry. And then this last little bit down here is Primrose Yarns in a Bramble. I'm pretty sure. So this shawl I knit because I had a deep need to have something that reminded me of home, and one of the things that reminds me of home the most is every summer our family would take trips to Mackinac Island, Mackinac City. So if you know Michigan, if you're from Michigan, okay. So in Michigan, this is how you tell people where you're from or where you've been. So I'm from here, Lansing area, right here. Detroit's over here somewhere. Lansing, Mackinac. And then there's other stuff over here that's like, right? No, this way. So Mackinac City is basically the very tip of the mitten. And it's where the Mackinac Bridge is that takes you into the Upper Peninsula or the UP. So I just have a lot of really great memories about that. And one of my favorite memories is going to this little beach that was just outside of the bridge and just sitting and kind of watching the sunset. So I really wanted something that reminded me of that. And this pattern was great because, no, I don't remember what it's called. Sorry. It's like Seawall something by Webster Street Knits. I don't remember. I'm gonna take it off so I can show it to you guys again. So what I liked about this was that it's kind of this, can you see it? Like, I feel like it looks like the water reflecting on the lake. Like if you've been and watched a lake, it kind of has that rippling like that, and then the sun, so part of it's like blue out in the distance, and then you get sort of that rippling, and then you have the water that's washing up on the beach that's kind of more in the brown and blue. So it was a perfect pattern. The colors were perfect for it. I'm really happy with how it turned out. Again, not really my color palette. It's actually been hanging on my wall because, again, I think I finished knitting it in March, so there wasn't really much call to wear it. Now that I take it down, I may try and wear it more. I really like it. But again, I like this pattern, but it has actually taught me to steer clear of these semicircle shawls, elliptical, I don't know. One, because I think the binding up here ends up really tight for me, so I don't like having a tight thing here, even though obviously I don't have to wrap it super tight. I also don't love the tails. This is not a functional tail for me. It doesn't hang down. It's kind of too curly. I don't know if that's my knitting or the pattern or the way it's constructed. Doesn't really matter. So yeah, so that's basically my memory shawl. It's just, that's just the safe, happy place in my brain that I go to when I'm just feeling homesick or want something that makes me feel peaceful. So I'll probably have to wear that more. Okay, I have another shawl that I made, and it is, maybe I'll show it next time. It's in my office, my work office, so I don't have it. And it's really cool, so I'll try and remember to bring it next time and share it. So the next thing that I did in lieu of the breakwater, I don't really did it in lieu of, but this is what I did instead, is this. Okay, let's figure out where the front is. Okay, so this is a tank vest combination, sort of. Okay, I'm just gonna put a picture up because that's a lot easier to show what it looks like than me holding that up. Anyways, so when I went to Maryland Sheep and Wool, I went to the Knot House in Frederick, Maryland. And that was my first introduction into Magpie fibers, which her stuff is beautiful. This isn't it, the top part isn't it out of Magpie in the Rest in Peace colorway. I bought whatever, I think it's her cashmere base, so it's super soft and just beautiful. I love it. And so she only had 3 skeins for sale, so I bought those, and I was like, I don't know, I'll figure it out. I've got to make something with that. So I bought that, and then I wear a lot of, like, again, hot natured, warm climate. Don't wear a ton of like super bulky things. So I figured what would be best would be some sort of like a vest that I could wear over shirts like this that have, you know, long sleeves or what have you. So what I actually did, this is a pattern that's based off of the Lina, L-I-N-A, tank by here, put it here. Lina, if you need to look it up. It's meant to be a linen tank to be worn in the summertime. And it's a tank. So it has sort of this garter stitch bodice, I guess. And then it goes, and then it's just, and you knit it back and forth, right? So you knit the back, and then you turn it around and you pick up the fronts, and then you do the front, and then you're supposed to like seam those sides together, and then you start knitting it in the round and stocking it. So I don't think that's giving much away. You can tell that from looking at the pattern on the pattern page. But it's meant to be for a linen yarn, and obviously linen performs a lot differently once it's blocked than regular wool does. So knowing that I would, and it's such a weird, like, I've never knit anything with linen, but it was super weird to me that it was like, your gauge is going to go from being like wide and short to like long and skinny, I guess. And I was like, well, the good news is I already knit long and skinny, so, you know, my tight gauge works for me, and I may just have to add some extra rows. So that's basically what I did. Like, I just kind of converted it to use it for this yarn. And then the bottom half is knit in this really beautiful green color. Don't remember the colorway name, but it's by Why Not Fibers out of Traverse City, Michigan. I bought it when I was home visiting from Woven Art in East Lansing. So it's on, I think, her soul base, and just this really beautiful earthy, like, I don't know if you can tell, it's got like some hints of brown in it and things like that. So it went really well with sort of the variegation in the Rest in Peace. Can you see it? I'm gonna assume you can see it because I can't see you. So, and then what I did in addition to that was that I cast on a cowl neck. I went around all the neckline and picked up and did sort of a bulky cowl, or not bulky, like a light cowl, whatever. So it's really cozy without being like super hot, so it really works from down here. And I'm actually gonna knit another one, so that's how much I liked it. And if you don't ask me how I modified it, I know I just added some length. I've got to figure out how to do it again anyways, because I didn't keep my paper copy. So it was a good knit. I did it during the summer, and it's been one of my favorite things. So that and the Raindrops sweater have been getting the most wear out of everything. Okay, and then so that So Faded, that was the last one. I was in between doing the So Faded, and I had like a gradient that was like sort of started at like hot pink, went into sort of like a sort of creamy natural / pink into like a brownie green at the bottom, which I liked because I thought, you know, it's kind of like a flower, I guess. You know, it was sort of like a gradient that I felt like that's a natural progression if you were a flower. I'm not a super flowery girl, so I don't really know where that was coming from, and I kind of started knitting it. There were a lot of things wrong with it. Like, I was using the first color was being knit in hedgehog fiber sock yarn, which is a light fingering, and to get gauge, I just didn't really like the fabric it was coming out at. And then something with the increases looked weird, like they looked like they were puckering. They might have been fine when I blocked it, but I wasn't sure, and I didn't love it, so I frogged it. So the other thing that I started working on, and this one's been living for a while in my knit quilt knit craft bag with all the llamas. So my mother-in-law got this for me for Christmas last year. Again, I'm not like a girly girl. I don't wear much. I don't have any pink in my wardrobe, but for some reason I was like, I don't know, I just like it. So I had done a bunch of swatching with different things because like the gauge, so using fingering weight at a gauge of about 25 stitches, 25 to like a lot of fingering weight sweaters are knit at like 24 stitches per 4 inches, and that's kind of apparently a hard gauge for me to get. I do better in the like 26 to 28. So given that I was doing a lot of calculating, figuring out, you know, like here's the gauge I want to knit at, and luckily like some of these patterns, like Andrea I have something to say, I'll say it. Andrea Mowry, Tin Can Knits, their patterns go up to a reasonable, you know, some of them go up to like 60-inch bust size, things like that. So I can knit a bigger size and have it be right for me at a tighter gauge without having to do all the additional calculating and figuring out how do I modify the pattern to get it to a larger bust size. Thank you. Thank you, Tin Can Knits. Thank you, Andrea Mowry. Thank you, Joji Locatelli, and anybody who designs for a size above a 53-inch bust. You guys, I get it. I get it. I don't know how to grade patterns, so I'm kind of being the squeaky wheel with no real right mixing of metaphors. Anyways, please design your things to be size inclusive. And when I say size inclusive, I'm a size 24. Commercial clothing goes up to a size 30. And more places need to design for a size 30. So anyways, trust me, I have a lot to say about that. But I am very grateful to everybody who knits to be size inclusive. And I'm learning to knit patterns that are not size inclusive, and I'm trying not to be that person that goes on Instagram every time a new pattern comes out and says, this is beautiful, I love it. Why didn't you design it for someone larger than a size 12? Because come on, that's not realistic. So nobody wants that person, but guys, it's the most annoying thing ever. So, okay, off my soapbox. So I knew I was going to have to find a pattern that I could knit at a tighter gauge in order to be happy with what I came out with. So I started knitting. So I bought this yarn at Miss Babs' annual gratitude sale, which she has like between Christmas and New Year's. And so the colorways are, the blue is Franklin, and the brown is something coffee related. Guys, I don't really care when people can't tell me what the colorway is on podcasts, but I still feel like I should, but I never remember. This is dark roast, coffee related. There we go. Okay, so dark roast and Franklin. So I started knitting the Flax Light. I don't know. I haven't looked at the pattern yet, but I think I'm knitting it at a tighter gauge. Maybe not. Don't remember. Anyways, I wanted a striped sweater. So this is, you know, this is not how the pattern is. It's just, I'm doing like a 4-row stripe. And I've gotten to the point where I'm like maybe half an inch past the arm cast on. And this has been in hibernation because I don't love it. Like, I like the colors still. Love the colors. Colors are not a problem. I don't know. Like, I think it's too simple. I wear a lot of striped things. As you can probably tell. Well, you will be able to tell eventually. I like a lot of striped things. I don't care if I'm not supposed to wear it. I'm wearing it. But I want something more for this. And so I might frog it. Even though I feel like once you get past the arm, like where you're knitting in the round for the whole body, it feels like you're not supposed to frog things, because it's like you've gotten through the like enormous raglan increases. but I just don't love it. And I tried it on and it's kind of baggy, and you know, and it's super wash, so it's probably just gonna stretch. I don't know. I'm just not loving it. So it's gonna go into hibernation again for a while, and we'll see what else I want to do with it. So, okay guys, I think I've been talking for like an hour so far. What else have I got? Okay, so that's like basically what the Make 9 turned into. So that's what, like 5 finished objects, 3 that I did something completely different, and 1 that's a work in progress still. So cool. I'm good with that. Like, that's a lot. Like, if you had asked me at the beginning of the year if I was gonna knit 3 garments, no, I would not have expected to. So I'm really stoked about that. And it may have made me a little overconfident for 2019 when I show you what I've got going. So I want to show you a couple other things that I've got works in progress. And then I'll start talking about what I'm planning for 2019 based on what's floating my boat this moment. So this is living in the Whimsy Stitches Festive Llama bag that I bought at SAF this year. I just really like the colors. This is my color palette. Like, if someone was like, what's your color palette? Like, everything in this. Gray, this beautiful tealy blue, orange, green. It's pretty much what rocks my socks. So, I'm working on the Ashburn shawl. Again, another Melanie Berg. Are we sensing a theme here? So this is a shawl that this is probably one of the first shawls that I saw by her that I really liked. And there, if you follow me on Instagram, there was a picture probably from maybe 2 months ago after I got back from South, that was like super colorful yarn, and then like moody gray and like yellow yarns, and I was like, I want to cast on a shawl. What do I cast on? And I was really hoping everyone was gonna be like, do the super fun and colorful stuff, and everyone was like, you need to do this other one. And I was like, damn it, yeah, I do, because this will go with like everything in my closet. So and that is the challenge of being myself as a knitter. I love color. I love knitting colorful things, but I also don't want to like stand out a ton. So sometimes it's hard for me to wear the things that I knit that are really colorful. Like, I'm gonna work on it, but you know, it's not my nature. Let's put it that way. So this is being progress kept by my little Sugar Plum Circus Dino baby. Can you see him? I love him. So this is basically going to be just goes with everything. Like, I wear a lot of purple and a lot of burgundy and teal. So this beautiful, that's a stitch marker. It looks really goldy brown on this, and it is. It's not like a yellow, but this is a really good color that goes with most of my wardrobe. And so I've got this, y'all, I'm sure that there's a thing in my project bag that's got the name of this. But, so this color is bronze. Let's see if I can find the bag. Okay. Alright, so that first tail is this color. Are you gonna focus? Close enough. Anyways, and it is knit out of, it is Potluck Bronze from Black Sheep Dye Works, and it's a 100% superwash merino wool. So yeah, I bought this a while ago. I really like her stuff. Like, she's got a lot of nice saturated colors. This is Miss Babs Yummy 2-ply in Old Gold. So this is that sort of goldish brown. And then the final one is, oh yeah, this is still attached to it, is Queen Bee by Vine on her Sparkle base. which I really like this. It doesn't differ a ton from the Potluck Bronze, but I still like it a lot. So this is it's a beautiful shawl. I'm pretty sure this is going to be just as heavily used as my on the Spice Market. So it's got just sort of the garter stitch here. It's got a nice long tail. Then it's got this really cool textured gold section, which I really like. So it's got like a lot of slip stitches and stuff like that, and then it goes back to sort of the garter stitch for the end. So I've got about 10 more garter ridges to do. I'm kind of thinking about doing more, like maybe doing another section and going even longer than that, just to make it, it's not that it needs to be bigger, it's just that I kind of want more of this color, because I feel like comparatively, like there's not enough of it, and I feel like it's one of the cooler colors in the shawl. So we'll see. This one's pretty close to being done. If I get it finished, I'll show it on the next episode. Okay, so there's that. And then my other work in progress. So this was meant to be a test knit for Catherine Volkerth. It's the B Street pullover sweater. Thank you, Catherine, for letting me test knit it. I knit the L2 size. It's gorgeous. I really, like, the minute I saw it, I was like, I really need to knit that. So this is the pattern. Yeah, I'll just show you that. So it's got this lace body with raglan increases, and then the sleeves are just plain stockinette. And again, size inclusive. Thank you, Catherine. Catherine Volkerth. Okay, not crazy. So she's released this now, and I just really like it. Like, I loved the design of it when she was previewing it on Instagram. And this is being knit on out of this it's being knit out of this. Okay, so come on. Okay. Focusing. We'll work on it. Okay, so it's being knit out of the Delirium base by the Periwinkle Sheep in the colorway Antidote. So it's this really gorgeous, like, it's like an acid green that got antiqued. So it's got almost this dark shadow to it, and I love it. Like, I think it's gorgeous. I bought this at the Knot House in Frederick at the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival. I doubt they're ever going to watch this, but a huge shout out to Kathy, the mom, who her daughter owns the shop and she runs it. There were five skeins of this, and I have bought 5 skeins of fingering weight for sweaters, and then I'm like in a bind because I'm like, I might be playing yarn chicken, and I was just like, I'm so tired of playing yarn chicken, I'm gonna buy 6 skeins from now on. And so I was gonna buy 5 because I like the color so much. I'd been looking for this kind of a green color, and I saw it and I was like, that's it, so I'm gonna get it. And as I stepped up to pay, they had a basket like on the floor to the side of the register, and there was a skein in there, and I was like, does that match this? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, is there any chance you'll sell it to me? I said, I've got 5 skeins. I'm not sure if I can make do with that, but 6 would be fantastic. And she's like, well, it's for a giveaway, which I totally get. Like, I wasn't asking for I was like, I get it. Totally fine. I figured I would ask. And she just kind of stood there for a minute and looked at me, and then she just like leaned over and picked it up and put it on the pile. And she's like, congratulations, you've won our giveaway. So thank you, ladies, for that. You're awesome. If I don't end up using all 6 skeins for this, then it will be used for something else, something beautiful, because this is awesome yarn. So, okay, you heard me talk about it. This might be kind of hard to show. So, I've been knitting it. It's been going pretty smoothly. I've got through, what do you call it, separating for the arms or whatever, or the inverse of that, which is whatever, putting the arms on hold. So this is the sweater, and obviously it's kind of hard to see, but you can see kind of where that lace is going, and I love it. And it's been really fun to knit. Like, you would think, like, when you watch a lot of TV and you're like knitting, you think you want like stockinette so you don't have to pay attention. And lately I've been finding that like I'm kind of bored with that. Like if I get into something, then I can just stop paying attention, but it feels a little monotonous sometimes. And so the thing that's been really fun with this is that the pattern's pretty easy to memorize. And so you get one round where you're doing the lace pattern, and then one round where you're knitting most every stitch, like there's a purl stitch every X amount of stitches, whatever. So it's been really fun to knit, which I wouldn't have expected. Like I would have expected it would have felt more like a slog. And I'm not saying it doesn't sometimes, but again, a bigger part of that is because it's got like 300 or 400 stitches on it. And again, big girl. I love fingering weight sweaters and I'm going to continue to knit them, but it is a labor of love because, you know, I'm not knitting 200 stitches like I would be on a shawl. I'm knitting double that because there's a lot to go around. So that's what I've been working on, and I'm alternating skeins because I'm a good girl. And this turned out beautiful. I tried it on the other day. It doesn't have any shaping to it, so, and I'm a pretty standard hourglass figure, so I usually like some shaping, and then, you know, my hips are a little bit bigger. But I think given that it's not super tight at the bust, I might just kind of let it be the tube and then let the lace like kind of take care of it. We'll see. I'm not sure if that's the best solution, but the other thing is that I started working on the sleeve because I was kind of getting to this point where it was a little bit of a slog to be knitting like several hundred stitches over and over again. So I've started that. The other reason is because I kind of wanted to see how the decreases were working out and make sure that part fit. Because I did do a swatch for this yarn and it more or less matched up, but my row gauge never matches anything. And anyways, I think I wanted to, like, I have long arm. Well, everything's bigger, guys. It's like it's not bigger on the inside, it's just bigger everywhere else. So I wanted to make sure that I had long enough sleeves for this. And so I don't know if I'm going to continue to do the sleeve. Now I'm in this weird situation where I have 4 balls of yarn going because I'm striping the sleeve and striping the body. And I kind of need to figure out some way to not have to deal with so much yarn. So I don't really know. Anyways, it'll get done at some point. It's probably, like, I love it and I can't wait to wear it. But I'm also kind of like, it's a little bit on hold just because, like, 400 stitches. So that's mostly what I'm working on. There's always lots of, like, I've got a couple hats that are on the needles at any given time. There's usually a sock floating around. There's some stuff that's like in deep hibernation. I'm not going to bring that out today because I don't know when any of it will get worked on. So, deep breaths. Is everyone still here? If you have made it this far and you're not my dad,